History is written by the victors. Winston Churchill.
When I am candlelit vigil and news at 11.
When my legacy is a loaded question fired at my mother's breathing memory. When I am headline and hashtag. If I become another life lost, what would they say? What would the victors say about me when I am history? They'd have a hard time painting me as a bad guy. There are no portraits of me ever holding up gang signs. I've never been a thug.
Never been a deadbeat dad.
Never been arrested.
I might say that I barely graduated high school, say that I lacked intellect and that I had no future. Go ahead and broadcast my speeding tickets. They'll say I was fast, couldn't control the weapon they couldn't find.
Less model citizen,
more menace to society.
But my mother's memories paint me masterpieces.
Even through her grief,
she would face the world and exclaim her son was a college graduate with honors,
or an amazing father, or a poet. But when I am protest and riot stirring remembrance, I pray that my resume be good enough for them to admit that they made a mistake.
My death could invoke change. My family might actually get an apology.
Or no, like no apologies, just justification. But there would be no tragedy.
It would be a train wreck of misinformation.
Skewed media coverage. He must have done something wrong.
In the tone of every headline.
Fuck protection.
Just criticize.
Speculate, villainize. Black men are always guilty unless proven innocent.
To make America comfortable with me as a citizen, I have to assume the position of
hands up, face down, fucked over, stereotype, criminal, deadbeat, beat, or dead.
They turn our policemen into soldiers,
peacekeepers into predators.
Shoot first and value life later. Search and destroy minorities
like terrorist threats. We are the war they've been preparing for when I am memory and mural.
It's a reminder that policemen are DJs in the media as they broken vinyl,
spinning black men into demonized remixes of our past.
No one's story is safe. Not an innocent teen in Baltimore.
Not an honorable student in Ferguson.
Not a faithful child in Greensboro.
So what do they say about mine? You know, if I'm lucky, my story will double as their confession. That's been asking for forgiveness for the murder of brown boys across the state.
They will admit the purge isn't only a movie as long as badges, shield cops from obeying the law.
They will admit that intelligence will get you killed faster than any weapon can. Black men with books have always been scarier than black men with guns. Winston Churchill's quote was a warning shot.
A resounding message that what you hear is only what they want you to hear.
But you heard it here first.
I wasn't holding a gun.
I was holding on to my identity.
I wasn't a criminal.
I was a canvas.
And I wasn't resisting.
I was revolution.
Oh, okay.
All right, judges, you heard it. Let's see what you felt. Up high in 3, 2, 1.
Get it right.
2, 3, 4, 5 judges. Perfect. From low to high, I have an 8.3. I have an 8.9. I have a 9. 9.6 and a 9.8. Sid Flo from the last, Sid Flo.
Sid Florida had a 21.8.
Give it up for Sid Florida! Next up, Team Snow, who you send in?
Group Peace!
I'm a special fond of King.
Y'all got it.
Let's go, Con.
There's a process once used by slave owners to prevent runaway slaves from ever committing another offense.
With a quick back and forth motion of a knife, they sliced through the Achilles tendon, named so after Achilles, the Greek mythological character known for his weakness. Afterwards, running was no longer an option. This process became known as hobbling.
Jimmy, a man of 22 years of age, born in chains with the thoughts of escape weighing heavy on his shoulder like a sack of cotton. He only have two options: keep picking or risk being picked up by slave patrol. He chose the latter, feeling that the smell oozing from northern winds was telling his spirit that freedom was worth the sacrifice. He paid freedom's price upon his capture, and the king's tendon sliced, branding him with an awkward limp, a crippling reminder that niggas would never be free.
Terrence was 19 years old when he was sold. Practiced daily by avoiding being tackled by bullets in his old neighborhood, he gained a reputation for running. His scent picked up by NFL scouts with snouts like bloodhounds. He was first picked on the auction block, where spectators watched big black bucks separated from his family and shipped to Miami. The harvest was more lucrative.
And now he's running like his great-great-grandfather Jimmy did, but instead of running towards freedom, he's running on field. Instead of obeying massa, he's obeying coach, because there was never any other approach for him to become a new age slave. Not a car, not a bank account. From slave quarters straight to a house nigga. His dad was living white life, black mistress. His undecided whole history twisted.
Emmett Till's whistle still being blown out of proportion. A flag on the plate in the form of OJ.
See, Mr. Strange food being squeezed under pressure.
Highlights from the news became the news for his public lynching. His running with the cops became a perfect photo op.
Running nigga, running on he knows so he can't stop. Plantation of which he belongs, known by the mascot branded on his jersey.
Hands in the air symbolizing a touchdown looks a lot like surrender after being caught by the overseers.
Chants from the trauma mines his blood of Negro spirituals on Sundays.
And now it's game time.
Ironically, his career ended injury.
And Achilles' tendon snapped like the crack of a bullwhip.
And now he's forced to them.
I guess this is happening of the 21st century. And now he's damaged property because niggas are only worth something if they can work the fields and yield to the owner's demands. It's like scoring points and picking cotton go hand in hand, so there's no room for field niggas like Terrence who sought freedom through football.
Or Jimmy who saw freedom through the balls of his feet.
If Terrence only made it to that end zone.
And Jimmy only made it to that Mason-Dixon line. Freedom.
But freedom is sometimes crippling.
And sometimes niggas on fields serve the same purpose as niggas in fields.
Both always seem to be running. Run nigga run.
Run nigga run. If he just can't run anymore.
Now, judges. Let's see those stuff. Input. Two. Wow. We got one judge. We got two judges. We got three judges. We got three judges. Still three. We got four judges. Just wait for that. Just wait for that. There she is. Okay, we're good. From low to high, I have a 9.2. I have a 9.4. A 9.5. Another 9.5. And a 9.8.
Good job, boys. Mighty Fly groupies at a 27.7.
Give it up for the groupies.
Good job, boys.
B-sides. Who you say?
Groupies!
The shoe game, though. Hey. Let's go pull that up to the shorty. Good job, boys. You got it. Let's do it, y'all.
This is a public service announcement to prepare you to recognize the symptoms of a serious threat to public health and sanity. STIs, socially transmitted infections.
Also known as presidential candidates.
Hillary Clinton.
Come on. HPV.
The most common STI, generally only mildly annoying.
There's a chance it'll give you cervical cancer if you don't keep an eye on its email transmissions.
The best offense is a good defense, so start early with complete vaccination against prejudice and ignorance.
These diseases are always learning.
So don't forget booster shots and history,
Politics.
critical thinking,
Empathy. Bernie Sanders.
genital herpes.
Hangs out for years without causing any trouble and then BAM!
Massive outbreak with extensive media attention.
This is easily defeated with a superpower especially in the southern part.
Anti-inflammatory.
Like bipartisanship, it's a big word that means we're all in the same boat.
A house divided against itself cannot stand.
Mainly because it hurts to put our legs together.
We all want to keep this ship
We
afloat.
do not have to hate each other just because we disagree on how to do it.
Kasich.
Who?
UTI.
What?
Urinary tract infection.
Oh, not even a real STI ruins the party for everybody.
Let's go.
Head cramps. AIDS.
Not HIV.
Straight up AIDS. The entire government system.
Sucking the life out of us one limb smile at a time.
A note on home remedies.
Not everything you read on the internet is true.
Ted Cruz is not the Zodiac killer.
But Donald Trump really did say he wants to bang his own daughter.
Donald Trump! Syphilis! Full-blown, complete with psychotic episodes that cause severe problems if not taken seriously.
Although easily eradicated with modern treatments such as penicillin and Google, simple negligence is about to run rampant.
Doctors prescribe several antibiotics at once to prevent resistance. When combating ignorance, come armed with multiple sources of information.
Watching The Daily Show once a week is kind of like wearing a condom 10% of the time.
Nice try.
But it ain't
No more shit! Get tested regularly.
Talking to those who disagree with you is the only way to get checked on your bias and blind spots.
And most importantly, don't! Research shows that voting abstinence will not protect you from the outcome of an election.
The danger source registering to vote is one extra form at the DMV.
But unlike condoms, your voter registration can be safely used again. And again.
State elections.
And again! Federal elections! Democracy!
This message brought to you by
Planned Voterhood of America.
Are you prepared for presidency?
All right.
Judges. Scene orders in 3, 2, 1. Up high, we got one judge, 2 judges. 5, thank you. From low to high, I have a 9.0. 9.4. 9.6. 9.7. And a 10. Team Snow's group piece.
Team Snow got a 28.4.
Give it up for Team Snow! And give it up as round 1. These judges are killing it! Give them up! I will press your nipples to my nipples after the round. That's round 2. Get right into it. Writing Pride, Team Snow, B-Sides, and Breaking Bad. You guys ready?
Hey!
Me too. Writing Pride, who you send in?
Let's go, Bree.
Ladies, dude.
$1 million ankles. Let's go.
When white people want to know why there's a need for a Black History Month, I think I get it. Your issue with this kind of exclusion. See, when the world usually revolves around you, it might be hard to understand why anyone else would think their own space is beautiful. I imagine you tired. Scrubbing our blood off of your roots is probably a tedious exercise, especially when whitewashing can usually clean your prints off of history pretty easily. And imagine it being something hard for you to swallow without causing cotton mouth. And you have to have a digestive system of the Middle Passage to gulp down a genocide without burping up bones by people as starving souls, desperate for someone to understand your kind of
conservative diet. How we don't really go down well with your white wine. That's why you always devour us in such small, bland, appropriate rations. Dr. King speeches, sit-ins, Rosa Parks, peaceful protests, how these well-done versions cook out all the flavor in the meat because the rare truth be too bloody for you. And you the important that hangs only with your innocence. The case of Gabriel's conspiracy served over the Nat Turner revolt and brought to you on a plate of the Stoner rebellion is probably something too spicy for you. Probably burns, you know, like June 1st, 1921, Black Wall Street going down, doesn't it? So you're like, oh, shut up the enslavement of an entire race. I've been a month long of force feeding you our triumphs despite unsettles your stomach. Probably smells like chitlins and failure. Probably hard, Jim Hall, fry off with a large opener. We shall all come, sticking to your ribs like soul food. But I get it. Come on. How you deal with things in math. So, natural beauty divided by European standards times everything burning hair. That's probably Madam C.J. Walker to you. But when you only use half a brain to factor in a people you only consider to be 3/5 human, the impact of Dr. Charles Drew, Lewis Latimer, Patricia Bath, well, it probably seemed like improper fractions to you. Yeah, I know. The agony of trying to pick the prettiest parts of our history from between your teeth. The exhaustion of carrying around the kind of privilege that allows you to ask why we need a Black History Month and not ask why the fuck we need a Columbus Day. Dear my people, I have gathered a palms full of your white tears and drank. Come on. And I get it. How February might feel like October to you. How Halloween might not be as fun when the ghost stories aren't fictitious. And your pillow can't testify with the guilt in your vein when you come from a long lineage of murder weapons. Yeah, I know. It's gotta be hard being white in America in February. I'm sorry if anything exists to make your lives harder.
From low to high, I have a 9.6. I have a 9.8. I have a 10. And a 10. And the B-side rookies for the previous round.
28.7.
Give it up for B-side.
Keep it going. Alright, Keith, know who you send it.
Let's go, Snow. Set it off.
You got this. Let's go forward. Let's go forward. Be free. A letter of apology from myself, Rock Turner's victim, and any woman who's ever survived sexual assault. I'm sorry. No, truly I am. I'm sorry for so many things, to so many people, through so many times, but most of all, I'm sorry I believe these lies. I guess it should come as no surprise that the right to my body is a social disguise, based on the notion that a man has a right to anything in his eyes, from my thighs to my hair, but no, not my dreads, but the ones down there, as long as my skirt was short enough to invite him to stare.
Come on.
So, I'm sorry. I apologize for this disguise that I put on, but I'm so glad you knew it was meant to turn you on, because the clothes that I wear have no significance to me as a human being. Rather, they're meant for you to define me by what you're seeing. Believing my mind determines my inner being, I invite you to look down upon me while I suffocate beneath this glass ceiling, so forgive me. Forgive me, please, for not getting the memo. That if I drink a little bit too much, I go from being a woman to a hoe. For forgetting that if I sip drinks and liquor shouldn't be the only thing I expect down my throat, because if I'm not really asking for it, then he really won't. Now I'm not sure if my apology is coming off entirely too sincerely, so let me take a minute to break it down for y'all a little bit more clearly. This apology is a symptom of a social disease, seen from football rosters in Ohio to buses in New Delhi, with outbreaks of slut-shaming and victim-blaming mentalities, and no cure in sight under this current system of patriarchy. We've got invisible wars leaving visible scars on members of our nation's military, and don't get me started on what the hell is going on politically. See, I write my local politician, but he's probably taking the lead on defining rape in terms of words such as legitimacy.
In fact, the following is a list of exact quotations taken from politicians in the United States of America. Rape victims should make the most of a bad situation. Rick Santorum, former presidential hopeful. Some girls rape easy. Roger Rivard, former Wisconsin congressman. Rape is like bad weather. If it's inevitable, you should relax and enjoy it. Clayton Williams, former contender for Texas governor. See, this disease has reached the top of our nation's leadership to the point of being endemic. But even without a medical degree, I've got a 4-step regimen that's sure to end it. Number 1, remember, rape is not about sex. It's about power and privilege. And if you don't believe me, take a deep tour into our nation's prison systems. Number 2, don't teach women self-defense, modest stress, or other ways to avoid being raped initially. Instead, why not foster a culture that teaches men not to rape indiscriminately? The case makes it to court. I've got advice for those on the bench. Perceptions of character are not as important as evidence. And number 4, if a person is raped, look for the rapist and not the reason. That one shouldn't have to rhyme.
Come on!
I got 4, and I have 5 beautiful. Okay, up high, GG. From low to high, I have a 9.5, 9.5, 9.8, 9.8, and Breeze.
Oh, sorry, Breeze had a 29.8.
29.8, give it up for Breeze. Besides, who you send in?
Hey, gosh! Besides!
Calm down, Ed.
Get down, come on.
Let's go, Ed. Let's go, bro.
Mr. Speaker, esteemed judges, my fellow Americans, there is a difference between preaching to the choir and teaching us a chorus. And yet, there are so many quote-unquote radical, revolutionary poets quoting newspaper headlines, citing chapters of sociology books, copying mantras of men and women who have done more in 5 minutes than some poets have done for society in their entire lives. And in so doing, we, the people, are bearing witness to the reduction of issues from historical truths to oohs and ahs, and the words we use are more than just slaves, they are our weapons. So don't talk to me about change. Do not capture the obvious and expect me to call that genius. This is not kabuki theater. Take off that makeup and stop dancing on hallowed ground, fact. The federal government spends 50% more on corporate welfare than on social welfare. Meaning, our government spends more on the rich than on the needy. Fact, a minority of House Republicans from bright red districts that are almost exclusively white are demanding to delay laws passed and proven in order to get their way, meaning there are bullies in our House. Fact. Pat Buchanan, Barry Goldwater, Ronald Reagan, Newt Gingrich, Rand Paul, Donald Trump, fuck them, Ted Cruz, all came from the same decrepit and morally biased womb that are slowly tiling down the rhetoric, making the word government synonymous with welfare. And the word welfare synonymous with lazy. And the word lazy synonymous with nigger, meaning 50 years of depicting the government as the enemy because it protects and provides for African Americans. Well, that's slowly culminating before your bickering and bantering eyes poem. We all play a part in this grand scheme, even if all we are doing is screaming and writing poems. So before you sing your songs about freedom and revolution, I want to talk about voting, volunteering, and doing more for others than you do for YouTube hits and finger snaps. Change comes in excruciating increments for those who truly want it. Moving mountains takes lifetimes. It is breaking the habit of making yourself important, all because you are locked in subtle, subconscious, and deliberate reaction. Yes, there are some people who need to die, but there are more people alive who need to get over themselves, who need to do something more than write a poem.
Alright, judges, your scores are 3, 2, 1, up high. Very nice. From low to high, I have an 8.7. I have 9.6. 9.8. Another 9.8. And a third. 9.8. Frequency score is...
Frequency at 29.1.
Give it up for the bro. On Breaking Bad, you send it.
What's that thing, G?
Come on, G.
Let's go forward.
That's my girl.
Let's go forward. Let's go forward.
So I was on Facebook, right? And I came across something so fucking hilarious and so deep that I had to share it on my page, right? And subsequently, one of my ex-Facebook friends responded with this comment completely outraged. She said, "This is voting. We're supposed to be promoting happy and positive things." And all I could think of was, okay, well, I know what she's trying to say. But is this bitch really trying to tell me how to fuck to run my own motherfucking Facebook page? Needless to say, we're not friends anymore. And to elaborate further on that situation will make you miss my point. So, further, motherfucking more. This shit reminded me of another incident that happened at another poetry joint. We had this one poet that had his opinion about how he liked my styles, but he felt my flows wasn't always on point. Now, I know everybody's entitled to their own opinion and take constructive criticism. Can't work on this, that's true and fine. But my thing is, you know what? I'm gonna say this next line all nice and polite, just to prove I'm not trifling and ignorant, alright? Now, I appreciate the constructive criticism, and you going all out your tail me and shit, but if you don't first practice what you preach, how you expect the real G to listen to that shit? And we are in the United States of America, and I, Alicia Crystal Dupree, but they call me Gigi, thoroughly exercise my right to the freedom of speech as protected by the Constitution. Now that's the First Amendment. The fuck you mean? And in this case, tell me how I'm supposed to write, unless of course you're trying to direct her and book this actress for your next hit movie, commercial, or stage play. Otherwise, it's really not up to you how the fuck I act or recite. I'm like a well-behaved, bipolar, hungry, blue-eyed pig. You can never tell how hard, but best believe this bitch gonna bite. Listen, right to a true finger fucker, go hammer. Haiku, fuck with tools, mixing poetry and fucked up grammar. So, fuck poetry, now that's all I know. I'm gonna raise the Central Florida representing for the but your opinion, I'll evaluate it. And if it's not righteous, you can take that shit and go unless you want to take it to the ring. I still have to battle rap. We can't go toe to toe. Now I say I'm born and raised in Orlando, so I gotta represent for the O. So I'm taking my freedom of speech and my G's and I'm challenging the MC in any state or country that's Bout. Southern Fried, I whips and international. Now you know I battle rap, we can't go toe to toe. My energy's off like gangsters. So when I murder, you know she wrote. I said, listen, my freedom of speech and my G's and I'm challenging the MC in any state or country that's internationally. Your opinion, I'll evaluate it. And if it's not righteous, you can take that shit and go. Please, no, my energy's off so gangsters. So when I murder, you know she wrote. So fuck with it, G. Now that's all I know. This writing style is on free, right? Hip hop,
comedy, acting, a haiku, and a pantone. To write how long is my free right? Hungry, and ain't that 3-piece and a biscuit. I say a 3-piece with a piece hit you quick for 2 inches and quick. Ooh, I just poetically and gangsterly illuminated your soul with this G to the core shit while one of you sucker busting motherfuckers not to come for me incorrectly no more. Bitch.
Alright, judges. Let's see those scores. In 3, 2, 1. Up high. Up high. Lovely.
Good job, boy.
4, 1 more. Awesome. From low to high, I have 8.7, 9.4, 9.5, 9.6, and the 10.
Ed was a 29.2. Hey, judges, can you hold up that same score? But I had it as a 8.7, a 9.4, a 9.5, a 9.6, and a 10.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Thank you, judges.
Yeah, thanks, judges.
Good job, boy.
Thank you.
Second round, we're gonna move into the third. I'm doing energy check. Okay, come on, you ready for this?
Yeah.
When I say Southern, you say pride. Southern. Southern. I say let's get, you say hi. Let's get. Let's get. I say I would, you say hit that. I would hit that. All down. Third round in this order. Team Snow, B-Sides, Breaking Bad, and Riding Pride. First up, Team Snow, who you sending?
You better. Let's go, Icon. Go, Snow.
You better be iconic.
You got it.
Trigger warning. I will not rate this poem. I will not force this poem into involuntary positions for my own self-gratification. See, I used to stay up at night, stalking poems, trying to pin them down and take from them what they were not willing or ready to receive. But this poem has a right to say no. This poem is not weak and helpless. This poem is taking self-defense classes, just in case 5 random judges try to rob it of its value by hitting it over the head with low scores. This poem will not wear its assigned gender role. All of this poem is female. It is not ladylike. It is not Stepford Wife. It may not always be made up in quads of perfection. Its ink-smeared lips may slur curse words and dirty jokes instead of sweet metaphors into your ear. This poem may just smack you on the ass and demand that you write down your phone number on the fucking scoreboard. I repeat, this poem will not wear its assigned gender role. All of this poem is female. That doesn't mean that it's not capable of taking physical advantage of male poems. The same breath, that also doesn't mean that this poem is not capable of killing. This poem will not stay in its place. All of this poem is going in whatever place it's going. When I walk 10 steps behind your poem, and when I speak only when spoken to, because this poem says whatever the fuck it wants, whenever the fuck it wants. This poem is a misfit. This poem is not concerned with becoming one of the cool poems. This poem may or may not fit your literary criteria. This poem may not be featured on Button Poetry, and this poem is absolutely okay with that. Buttons usually close things up, and this poem is wide fucking open. This poem is a whore. Anyone can get it. This poem will not comb headlines, Facebook posts, nor Twitter feeds for its next fashion statement. This poem is not a current event, not a hashtag, pound sign. This poem just is. This poem is not a feminist. This poem does not sing the praises of Annie DeFranco nor Beyonce. However, it does belt a deep raspy ode poem is. This poem sees the way your poem looks at it when it walks into an open mic, and how yours clutches all of its slam titles and accolades when it has to share a stage with it. This poem loves black poems, however it does have white poem friends, so it can't possibly be racist. Your poem. Because whether you acknowledge it or not, the mere fact of who your poem's author is, it already came into this slam with slam privilege. This poem is not politically correct. This poem would rather go out in a blaze. See, the last time this poem was cautious about what it had to say, it still didn't win the fucking slam anyway.
Judges will repeat the scores in 3, 2, 1. Up high for me. Awesome. From low to high, I have a 9.4. I have a 9.7. A 9.8. Another 9.8. And a 9.9. Good job, in the previous round, Gigi had a score of.
Gigi had 28.5.
Next up, B-sides. You send it. Just Howard! Let's go, kiddo! All the way to the bottom.
I know how to combat.
So, Jess. Make it hurt.
Maybe if I'm funny enough, it'll all be okay. See, because when they laugh, I forget that I'm sad, forget that I'm scared, forget that I'm angry, forget that my smiles are based on the Band-Aid, so maybe if I'm funny enough, it'll all be okay. It was 3rd grade when I realized I could make the whole room smile just for me, when I realized I could make them see. Someone other than that scared little girl with her nose in a book, when I realized I could make them listen. Because I can make them laugh, so maybe if I'm funny enough, it'll all be okay. Maybe I'll forget that the person they laugh for is actually me. Maybe they won't notice. Or if they do, the person up here will make them love the one down there. The person up here will make me love the one down there. Maybe I'll stop being this gyroscope, spinning, tearing at my own stitching. Sure, it's great to look at now, but gyroscopes always fall down. An object in motion stays in motion, and an object at rest stays at rest unless acted upon by an outside force. Come on. Or maybe an inside force. Maybe a diagnosis, rearranging your guts daily, maybe a monster, maybe a brain chemistry, maybe a demon, trying to rip its way out your chest cavity, maybe a genie. Right out the bottle to do all the talking, even when you're scared that they love her more than they love you, so maybe if I'm funny enough, it'll all be okay. When I was little, I watched Aladdin with my neighbor Sophie, and she was also Princess Jasmine, and that's what about me, what I didn't say, was that I felt like the genie, trapped, to be something else so constantly, to not be sure what I was originally, to somehow forget that I am not the mask I wear, to somehow wish I was, because everyone loves her, because everyone loves the genie! When Robin Williams killed himself, all anyone kept asking was how he didn't know he was loved. What no one seemed to understand was that, of course he knew.
Yeah.
It just didn't help.
Come on.
What you could never be sure of was if you loved him or if you loved the genie.
Yeah.
So Mr. Williams, if you're listening, I understand. I'm scared of my genie too.
All right, judges. Let's see those scores in 3, 2, 1. Up high.
You're right.
4, Judge. And from low to high, I have a 9.5. I have a 9.7. 9.8. Icon have a score of?
I got a 29.3.
Nice. Breaking Bad, who you send it?
Yours truly, Noir Gente.
Voice of God.
Yep.
What doctors?
Let's go, boy.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination.
By law, we're not allowed to make an official diagnosis until he's at least 5 years old, but we're pretty sure. Many of the signs are already there and quite pronounced. You need to understand, it's very likely he will never be able to take care of himself. At age 2, there were folks who met my son and thought he'd been raised by wolves. The deadpan, straight-ahead, seemingly empty stare, never broken when left to his own devices, not even by the sound or impact of his head beating against the wall he backed himself up against. But the second this self-contained, semi-somnambulistic, seemingly self-abusive reverie was disturbed, he became this wild thing, this thrashing, scratching, screaming, fighting, feral being, this weaponized dissonance, rejecting any attempts at connection, at communion he so desperately needed. That has to hurt, I told the doctors. Can't he damage his brain like that? How do I stop it? Well, yes, of course, a lump or cut, or even worse, you must break that habit as soon as you can, but you must be clear on exactly what it is you will be threatening from his perspective.
Come on.
A world of sensory overload, incessant auditory assault, a world without filter for ringing phones, TVs, conversations, car engines, sirens, helicopters, gunshots. He is spared none of it. With each and every one of them, its own unique pain. That banging is his attempt to cope, to deal with the unrelenting agony, the only way possible to mute myriad sledgehammer blows by focusing on one relatively minor pain which he can wield full control over. That banging you mistake as a danger is his filter, his reprieve, his comfort, his clarity. That banging is his salvation. The next time someone tells you an autistic child, an Asperger's child is off in their own world, you correct them. Tell them no, not mental illness, but a mind born way too sensitive to a world that has forgotten to care. Tell them the most special thing about your child is being born completely unable to not give a damn.
Exactly.
I found a way to stop him bumping his head, help him focus. Found it in a movie he seemed to like. These days, he's much better. But sometimes we still sing it together.
Come on.
Thank you. All right, judges. Let's see your scores in 3, 2, 1. All right, you got 4 and 5 judges. Thank you. Low to high, I have an 8.6. I have a 9.3. A 9.6. A 9.7. And a 9.8. And that's those scores are for the poet and the poem, not his impressive optics. Jess Howard scores.
Just Howard at 29.5.
29.5. Good over Jess Howard. The Writing Pride. Who you say?
Wesley.
Let's go, Wesley.
Go, Southside.
No, Pitbull. That lion face.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
No, because I hit it a little bit afterwards.
I do believe they caught me chasing pipe dreams, walking down a crack road headed nowhere, where purpose presents itself in simple stages, staging storylines of smoky lungs choking on the future of breath we are here to take. See, he's not stupid. Been planning this since he saw creation creep up in our hearts, caged beastie sauce. We decided to tame us, entangled crack rock cages, crack piping surges and infidels infiltrating our souls like a lynch nightmare. In the 80s, we were down these streets, talking mad gibberish, trying to get a taste, spitting sidelines like, come on, man, I'm good, and we still feeling for false highs. And heights fell up with that fresh shit. He like, damn, man. I'm seeing butterflies and shit. No, don't stop my hungry babies, right? That's just the empty spirit craving more and more mics and pipes, more crayons and arms, more cracked lips wrapped around wall, embrace of hidden tracks and trains that smells like setback and pain. Now I can't see, but she can see clear as day. Smoke colors dance into dilated pupils, and she sees rainbows down all looking for the pot of gold at the end of the timeline where the rain goes. Maybe they'll forget how miserable they made their loved ones, forget the remains of her addiction etched into every part of their limbic system. Her glass cracked at the dinner table, saw useless debris of failure scattered across the eyes of her 3 children. They are blind to street corners and fairy tales, can't see those black knights aimlessly searching for their Snow White. Their father is no father. She left him to be a strange wife. Who knew parenting could be so condescending? Who knew addictions could transcend generations like prayers on the lips of dope fiends, flesh peeled off of knees like a flower blooming, but this garden produces no flowers, trees bear no fruit, trees rolled into blunt caskets to swish a sweet sheep. And he, coincide her mother, is a screaming hypodermic needle. His father is a silent white horse spinning on the record table. Their parents are royalty, falling from their thrones like the tears from our faces, pawn their big crowns for sight visions of like angels and halos. Wrap their fingers around patriarchal armies. White collar crime off the agile prescription. White wings don't carry us to white clouds when we lay our hands to sleep. It's not all white. We're supposed to represent purity, but this white power in these white rocks should give our white skin, makes them white, destroy our black kingdoms, and you wonder why it's just footprints on concrete houses don't look like pretty big castles at 79th Street, but all white bricks don't lift basements from the basement up, and those all white bricks used to lift my spirit from the basement up.
Alright, judges, you're the piece. Let's see the scores. In 3, 2, 1. High. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 judges. Thank you. From low to high, I have a 9.1. I have a 9.6. I have a 9.7. 9.8. And another 9.8. Warhente had a score of
28.6.
Give it up, everyone. That's round 3. Yeah, I have a special treat for you guys. Our indie poet of the evening, all the way from Ohio. Give it up for Ephraim Nehemiah.
Check out the suspenders. For Darylene, Shantella, Latasha, Yajane, and anyone else that was told their name is ghetto, I love your name. And not that I didn't hear what you just said, so give you 2 head nods and say, I love your name. I'm talking about that true honest love. Your name embodies the metaphysical manifestation of marvelous art. It defies the oppression and reclaims a phonetic Afrikaan dialect that nothing could take away. So take pride in the fact that you'll never find your name on novelty racks during vacation trips, because your name can be put into a box or a license plate or a Coca-Cola bottle, because your name is too good for that. And they don't have enough letters for black. I marvel at your multi-syllabic curves when they roll off the tongue like smooth jazz from smooth lips. Those masterfully placed apostrophes send chills down my spine. So go ahead and separate those consonants like concepts of half and split right down the middle. Add an A, a sh, a quan. Do it like no one else can. Girl, do you know why? You shouldn't worry about what your name looks like on a job application. Because you are a destiny controller, an owner, not just a worker. You are meant to run the world, not shuffle in it. And wolves don't lose sleep over the opinion of sheep. And you are the moon that wears wolves like a goddess. Embrace the stylistic creativity flowing through your veins. Abolish the names they said you should have, and choose the ones you are destined with. Layana, Danisha, Rashane, you are the Cubulanian, Nubian, Black, African, melanated woman of divinity. And if we can be expected to learn how to say Schwarzenegger, right, Galifianakis, and Gyllenhaal, you better us take longer than the seconds it took to pass the judgment. Learn how to say Kasamari, Obienaju, and Anulu Wapo, because your name carries the legacy of women whose work was not determined by their potential to be a good wife, but rather their persistence in birthing nations and nurturing them to dynasties. You are the pharaoh queen twisting the arms of gender roles into submission. You are the 12-hour second shift perseverance in the home of an absent father lost in the war. You are the sun shining on a rich dark-skinned queen carrying gold from Ethiopia. You are the moon glistening on a Dogon priestess dancing under Sigitulo. You are the determination of tired feet traveling miles down a path on the railroad to freedom. You are the truth journey to burst the walls of sexism, screaming, ain't I a woman? You ain't in my job. Oh, soon, toughness, the journey set, the wife of a ruler, the mother of a savior, the gateway to life. Yoni, Bova, sacred, hold, and your name is nothing to be ashamed of. Us not saying your name is something we should be ashamed of. So when I ask your name, please don't tell me some made up, easy to pronounce version. Let me love your name, because I love your name.
Judges, I love your score. So let me see you. I like that one. There it is. From low to high, I have a 9.4. I have a 9.6. I have a 10. To close up the last round, Wesley had the score of.
Wesley had a 29.1.
29.1. It all comes down to this. Round 4. To the death. Oh, not to the death. That's fun. But you know what this means? This is the last preliminary bouts before finals. In this round, in this order, from Texas, B-sides. Give it up for those guys. Now shut that shit up. We gotta jump. B-sides. Who you sending? Ellie Stewart!
He say I only write about the bad things. Say I can't remember the good things. So I couldn't know or remember all that bad. Said I was too young. Guess I got a good imagination. He say I'm still writing about old stuff. Guess I ain't got over it yet. He don't like how what I write make him look like he ain't shit. Like he ain't raised his kids. Like he don't love us still. Guess I shouldn't write the truth. Guess I shouldn't write how I feel, the way I grew up, the way I want it now. Guess I shouldn't make him look like he ain't nothing but some sperm donor, some dude. He say he's tired of not being the hero in my poems. I say me too. He don't like the memories he left me with me neither. Don't like being reminded of his faults, but I look in the mirror every day. Got his face, what that make me? I say, how I'm supposed to escape? He say, you better. I said, that's what happens when you leave and ain't got nothing when you come back. I said, well, I'm from that shit hurts. He said, you ain't gonna be successful. I said, you ain't sure of that. And even if I am, you ain't gonna have shit to do with that either. He said, I bought you ice cream once, took you to the movies a few times, made you dinner, played you and taking that time. Remember I came to your volleyball game once, and that one time you played powder puff. Remember I met your boyfriend once, twice, maybe 3 times. Remember I bought that one book for that one class when you was in college that one time. Remember I came to your graduation. Remember I was at your wedding. Remember we danced. Remember. I say you show up to be seen. You can praise and glory that don't belong to you. Damn, I must be ungrateful. Needing more than one book. Help paying off these student loans. Oh, you done shit. Guess I shouldn't need for shit. Not that shoulder when I got that divorce, when I almost got raped, when I broke my ankle playing those sports. Guess I was only hungry once. You watch the same movie for the rest of my life. You know, if I play the ice cream, I heard Ashton and Roberts got 32. Guess I ain't no talking to him how to get hurt by all these boys. You the best lesson. Guess when you left, your hurt was enough for the both of us. You right. Act like you ain't do nothing. Guess I ain't Christian. Guess I can't get over it. I'm so mean, talk to you so bad, you so funny. Guess when I grew up without you, I took you from me. Guess without you, I had nothing to write about. So thank you for teaching me how to make nothing out of something. The way you raised me.
Very much. From low to high, I have a 9.6. I have a 9.8. I have a 10. Alright, Indy, Ephraim, Nehemiah, and score up.
29.6.
29.6. Give it up for Ephraim. I'll come in. Breaking Bad. Who you said?
Alan Minor.
Let's go, my man.
I've always said that the most powerful words in the English language are, "You are not alone." This one is for those that don't know or have forgotten. Somewhere, right now, there's a young girl sitting at a dinner table trying to think of an excuse so she can get up and go to the bathroom and make herself throw up the meal that she's just finished eating. Somewhere else, there's a young boy sitting in a bathroom stall, bawling his eyes out while he tries to keep the razor blade steady. Halfway around the world, there's a woman sitting in the corner of her bedroom, trying to block out the voices long enough so that she can remember to take a shower. There's a man jumping from strange bed to strange bed, each morning greeted by a different face, hoping that the next one will be the one to break through and make him feel something. To that boy sitting in class trying to hide his wrists from his teachers, and the girl huddled on the bathroom floor, crying because she can't stop herself from vomiting. To the woman who can't grip anything because her fingernails are chewed to the point of bleeding, and the man who wishes that for just a minute he could genuinely cry, or smile, or feel anything. To the kids who stay up at at night crying because they can't figure out why they're not like everyone else. And to those who feel like they're slowly drowning because they're too busy hiding that secret part of them from their loved ones, I see you, and you are not alone. I know that doesn't make everything all right. And I know it doesn't bring your mother, father, husband, or wife home at night. I know it doesn't make the voices in the back of your mind stop telling you that it's all your fault. I know that these words are not a cure-all and they're not going to change the world, but you need to know that you are not alone. You are special because you are not like them. You are a superhero. You belong to a select group of individuals who are forced to hide their secret identity behind a mask, and that is nothing to be ashamed of. They will never understand the kind of superpower that it takes for some people to just get out of bed in the morning. They will never know the daily struggle that it takes for some to simply function, and that's okay. Because not everyone can be a superhero, and not everyone is meant to understand what that means. But what it means is that you are beautiful. You are worth it. You are stronger than you think, and you are stronger than they could possibly know. I know that when they tell you that everyone struggles or that you should just get over it, all you want to do is just punch them in the throat. But just remember that just because they don't know does not mean that you are all alone. It may not get easier, but I promise that it gets better. So keep on saving your world one heroic act at a time. And don't ever let you feel like forcing yourself to get out of bed or take a shower or eat is not a heroic deed, because for some, there's no such thing as a simple task. And that's unfair, I know. But when you're at your lowest, just remember, you are not alone.
Alright, judges, we are ready. Let's see those scores in 3, up 2, 1, up high, elbows, elbows, elbows. Everyone's showing your elbows. Alright, from what I have an 8.9. Oh. I have a 9.5. Yeah. I have another 9.5. Yeah. I have a 9.6. And a 9.7. Anthony Stewart of B-Sides. The score of
29.8.
29.8. Give it up for the boys. The writing pride. Who sent it? Amanda. Give it up for
Time.
Yeah. Amen. Amen.
Good job. You got it.
Let's go. Let's get it.
Lions, then. Roar!
Take your time, sweet.
Yeah. Got it.
Trigger warning, suicide, sexual assault. In Bahasa, we call it pulung gantung. Translation, hanging prophecy, and a scar, rounded red, something copper or penny or blood, wrapped with a comic blue tail like rope. It falls in a hurry above her roof so the neighbors know which house to check in the morning. There's a body in the closet,
Then boom. Translation hanging. The neighbors knew she would be there. The star told them so. Screamed across the sky as it fell above this girl's house. Westerners would call that warning. We call it explanation. Like this is natural. Like this is inevitable. We speak of reasons and fate and tradition and language. And maybe that's why I was never scared of suicide. Pulong sounds so much like pulang. Translation hanging sounds so much like home. January 17th, I saw a screaming star, bloodied and blue-tailed, streak over my apartment, and I've always been one for tradition, so I found a belt, tied it to my closet rod, did my best impression of that celestial spectacle, and for a moment, I was in space. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Translation, I was so close to death. Translation, I was so close to home. When they asked me why I did it, why I tried to invite brave into my girlish body, I say that death has lived here long enough. Hands I didn't know have already hollowed out my heart, barbed fingers ripping out more than they reached in with. I said no, in every language I knew, and it still wasn't enough. His response was, little jasmine flower, you are so lucky I picked you. Wow. Translation, bodies like mine never belong to girls like me. We exist for a moment of excitement and get crossed out when we serve no more purpose. Miss Saigon, sex worker, is useful, then useless. Kills herself. Madam Butterfly, sex worker, is useful, then useless. Kills herself. My story is exactly theirs. Amanda, sex worker. He calls me beautiful. Translation, useful. He turns me over, sees my scars, calls me sane. Translation, useless. I'm so used to being soiled silk. Translation, useless. Disposed of when I'm done being pretty. Translation, useless. And I can still taste those ghosts in my teeth. Biting my tongue till pennies spill from my mouth, till my clothes spill from my body, till my star spills from the sky, till my body spills from. I'm still putting on my makeup. I'm still trying to be useful. Translation, I'm still trying to stay alive.
All right, judges, let's see those scores in 3, 2, 1. Up high, up high, up high, up high. Low to high. I have a 9.4. I have a 9.7. A 9.8. A 10. Alan Miner of Breaking Bad.
28.6.
28.6. Give it up for the boys. Alan Miner. Latitude pulls out this round and this bout. Team Snow, who send in?
Honey Cigar! Give it all up there! Team Snow! Team Snow! With the smoke. I got another wish out.
Come on.
My grandfather used to say that a lie will make it around the world and back before the truth even gets its shoes on. His granddaughter understands that you can't believe everything you hear. That truth, while it is absolute, rarely finds its way out of the mouths of people so naturally. When the news media says she had marijuana in her lungs and killed herself from inside her own jail cell, the black woman hears silence. She hears the chirp of the crickets standing in the streetlight that should hold the masses marching in their spotlight. No. So she cries her sisters' names, and her sisters have become too much angel to cry for themselves. When a white woman says, we should stand up for each other, because after all, we are both women. The black woman hears the groan of the ancestors on whose shoulders your slipping sisterhood still stands. She hears the weight of mistrust standing between her and her husband, wonders how long it will take you to distance yourself from her issues when she's helped you solve your own. When a white man says, you are really pretty for a black girl. The black woman hears, I was not prepared to be confronted by all of that black girl magic bottled so perfectly inside that skin. Skin that means I can't take you home for Sunday dinner, but would have no problem secretly sitting with you on Saturday night.
Come on.
When a black man says, "Hey baby, can I be your slave?" Black woman thinks you already belong to someone else. It wasn't a piece of gold, my soul, my sex left to buy your freedom when he says he doesn't date black women as if he didn't slide head first from a black womb. 2 years, you are not Kim Kardashian enough for him to want more, and there's not enough ink in him to turn water into wine, melanin into money. When other black women say, but she is too light or too dark, hair too kinky, nappy, or relaxed, unnatural, the black woman hears self-hate, tries to wash it down the drain with her false bravado and 5th glass of wine. When she hears the phrase, strong black woman, she knows it for the double-edged sword that it is. Though the walls of her box constrict a little more than going to crush her under weight, she was never strong enough to get out from under. When she hears the phrase, strong black woman, she knows this is another excuse for them to keep adding insults to her already growing injuries. She does not cry. She's afraid it will ruin her Maybelline make-believe smile. The black woman does not rest easy. She feels the pull of their lives like flame to a moth. She wants to believe this is light. Instead of fire, she learns the most dangerous lies are the ones we tell ourselves.
Come on!
All right, judges. One last time. Those scores, 3, 1.
Go, judges.
Up high for me. Thank you. Thank you. Right. Thank you. From low to high, I have a 9.6. I have another 9.6. A 9.9. A 10. And a 10. Amanda Preston has a score of
29.5.
29.5. Give it up for Amanda. We have the score for our honey Zanai. In the meantime, these judges have done an excellent job of hosting. Tomorrow's finals at what's the finals at? Tomorrow finals?
Yep.
Where is it?
Harrison Auditorium.
Harrison Auditorium?
Google it.
Google it.
Google it.
Terrible.
Hey, he's right. Absolutely.
Yeah, so, come to the finals, be there. Judges, be there. We'd love to have you. You won't have to do any scoring, but we'd love to have you. And,
Honey Snot had a 29.5.
29.5. We're going to total up these scores.
They're total.
They're total. Okay.
Wow, he's on it.
Give it up. Hey, Bout!
Check that fade out. Check that fade. All right, you guys ready? In 4th place, with 107.5 points, give it for Breaking Bad. All right, with 116.1 points, in 3rd place, give it up for Riding Pride. In 2nd place, with 116.3 points, give it up for Team Snow. Next teams, your winners of the last prelim bout, 117.2, Austin B-Side.